Hello, hello, hello. I'm Erica Lynn, better known as Erica Lynn Speaks.
If I can think about it for a second, learn to live life for the better. I had hard times, got a life coach for depression, got a life coach for depression. Now it's all mine, living days full of hard times. Ekalin, work on your mind, let's get on your grind. Working on the feelings inside, Ekalin got me on the rise.
Ekalin speaks, so the Ekalin speaks, so the Ekalin speaks, yeah, yeah. Ekalin speaks, so the Ekalin speaks, so the Ekalin speaks, yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, alright. Looking up when I fell on hard times they changed my mind. Got my head up, looking to the sky. Miss Lynn, she changed my life. Looking up when I fell on hard times. With her unique design. Got my head up, looking to the sky.
Ekalin speaks, so the Ekalin speaks, so the Ekalin speaks, yeah, yeah. Ekalin speaks, so the Ekalin.
Hello, hello, hello. This is your girl, Erica Lynn, and welcome back to another wonderful episode of Erica Lynn Speaks podcast. Y'all know how we do it over here. We like to play big or go home. Who are we playing big for? We are playing big for ourselves because if you don't play big for you, who else is going to play big for you, right? Every week we come on this podcast and I share wonderful information with you, bring wonderful guests on here that just take you to the next level. This week we're going to be talking about re-strategizing for the third quarter. But before we get started, make sure you share this podcast with everybody you know. Say, hey, Erica Lynn is on and she back and she better than better and she back again. And so you guys know that we're on two Facebook channels. We're also on YouTube, all under Erica Lynn Speaks. So all you got to do is type in Erica Lynn Speaks. And when you share the podcast, make sure you push hashtag Erica Lynn Fam. You know, you guys, oh my God, for the month of June, we have been having a fantastic time. I know you guys been seeing those posts that I've been posting because we're doing the Move More challenge along with re-strategizing because to re-strategize is going to take a lot of energy. So I've been encouraging people to and motivating you to exercise. Even if you just get up and walk up and down the driveway or walk around your house, whatever it is, but move more, move your arms because you got to stay in shape. You got to stay healthy for what's coming next, right? And what's coming next for you today on Erica Lynn Speaks podcast? Like I said, I have a wonderful guest for you all. Man, I've been watching her all over the place, like on CNN. I mean, this woman just is phenomenal. I've watched her several times, and every time I watch her, I get inspired and motivated. I'm like, what's next for me? What's going on? What else brilliance that's coming out of me? Well, you guys, I'm not going to waste your time. I want to bring on Nicole Roberts Jones. She is uniquely gifted in one thing, showing you how to draw out the one gift that you have so that you can bankroll your brilliance. And so without further ado, I want you to put your hands together and join me by welcoming my special guest to the platform today, Nicole Roberts Jones. Hello, Dr. Nicole. How are you?
I'm good. Excited to be here. Excited.
Yes. I mean, it's been a minute since you and I have had an opportunity to talk. And I was so excited when we decided to do re-strategizing in the month of June. I said, oh my gosh, she's going to be perfect for this segue because not only do you show people how to re-strategize, but like you just give them the boost that they need because a lot of people lack in that area. But
Yeah.
before we dive into re-strategizing, I just want you to give everybody a little bit of background about yourself and how you got started to come to where you are now.
Sure. And I love that this is called re-strategizing because there was a time in my business where I looked really, really successful, but I had absolutely no strategy. Now, listen, you couldn't tell me I had no strategy because I thought I had my strategy game on lock. So this was about 17 years ago. Now, listen, my math is going to be off. This was in 2010. Y'all figure out the math. It was a while ago. So I've been doing this 28 years. It'll be 29 as of this September. And literally 17 years in is what I should say. I started in 93, so whatever that is in between. But anyway, back then I had two divisions in my business. And I want you guys, I'm telling you this story because I want you to understand what I mean. And I love this conversation because I need you to understand that many of us think there are things that are strategic and they're not. And I'm not somebody just talking it. I'm somebody that lived it, failed at it, figured it out, got blessed by the shift, and now know that it is my mission to help other people do the same. So again, I had two divisions back then. I had a nonprofit working with African American teenage girls, and we were growing by leaps and bounds. We had 10 chapters in 10 cities throughout the country. Now that was my nonprofit. And my for-profit, I had an 100% coaching client roster, coaching women, and I always say a few good men. I always had a few good men clients, but 90% of my clients were still women, really helping you understand what your purpose is and creating purpose-focused businesses. And so because I couldn't take on another client, in 2010, I wrote my first book. So when that book came out, I thought, okay, I'll give it to, I'll let women buy it so they'll be able to get at least a strategy if I can't coach them. And it'll be a fundraiser for my nonprofit. Well, again, when that book came out, I started getting invitations to speak all over the country. That's when I started doing the speaking thing. So this place was a place I had dreamed of when I started my business, Erica. It was everything that I knew, like I knew I was meant to do. However, I was only making $13,000 a year. Uh-huh. And by the way, I was on a good year. So yes, I had a daytime job too. I used to call it to pay for my nighttime calling, but I didn't start this business to have to work for somebody else. I thought my purpose was going to generate a paycheck for me. And so my epiphany moment happened on November 7th, 2010. And I remember it like it was yesterday. I can't believe it was however many years that was ago, 12 years ago. So almost, yeah, whatever. Let me stop trying to add because I cannot add in my head. Anyway, I had just gotten home from another speaking weekend, and my daytime job, I was an adjunct professor. And by the way, my class, now this was Sunday night, y'all. My class was at 8 a.m. on Monday morning. I hadn't looked at the syllabus. I hadn't read the books I told my students to read. I hadn't written a lecture note. I was like, oh my God, I can't do this. I can't do this anymore. And so, to answer your question, to really help all of you understand why I got to this place, can I tell you, I had no strategy. Now, again, I was teaching at Boston University. Before then, I taught at USC for almost 5 years. So I thought, here I am, a university professor, and I was teaching in grad school. So I was kind of feeling myself too. Let me tell the whole truth. So because I'm teaching strategy, I thought I had strategy, but I need you to understand, first point, that I know now. The tools you've used on this level are not sufficient for your next. I was strategizing with these tools, and what I was building was this. I had never done this before. So how you going to do something you've never done using the stuff that you did other things, but you never did this? Duh. So I hired a coach. Now listen, my coach cost 30,000. It's a whole longer story, but I'm trying to get to the end of it. Now y'all know, first of all, when she said 30,000, I thought I was going to faint. But I said, okay, I'm going to risk it all to gain it all. And really what my coach showed me, Erica, was all the blind spots in the strategy pieces I did not know I needed. I literally went in 6 months from 13,000 to over 200,000. And I've been growing by leaps and bounds. And the one thing that made the difference was having strategy.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? A lot of people don't understand what their strategy is, first of all.
Mhm.
So you get out there, you say, I want to start a business,
Right.
and you do what you think you're supposed to do, but you didn't actually map it out, write it out, list it out, put it on a bulletin board. So you're just kind of going by what you think your target market audience is, or who, or what you think people want, opposed to doing like the survey to find out what people want, and that ultimately will help you create a strategy. So why do you think that is, that people just think I'm just going to open a business today without no strategy and I'm going to be successful?
You know, what's interesting is so many people, I call it having Milli Vanilli syndrome. Now, those of you that don't know who Milli Vanilli is, don't make me feel old. I want you to Google it and then come on back and listen to the rest of this conversation. Don't make me feel old, Erica. If you don't know who Milli Vanilli is, girl, don't make me feel old. So,
Yes, I know.
listen, okay, making sure. But look, so what people do, so real quick, Milli Vanilli was a singing group out in the 90s. They won, I think it was 91, they won a Grammy for Best New Artist. Right after they won the Grammy, it leaked. I don't know if it was their manager, agent, somebody leaked that they had been lip syncing on that track. And so I see so many people that start businesses that lip sync on somebody else's track, meaning that they say, oh, so and so's doing this thing, I'm going to do that. And what happens is your DNA, your distinct natural ability, was not created to be anybody else but you. One of my good super friends says it like this: if you're doing the same thing that somebody else is doing, then one of us isn't necessary.
Yeah.
Because God already made this person to do this way. So when you try to cookie cut this person, you're making yourself not necessary. So I think the reason so many people fail is because one, the first strategy you need to get is around your purpose, or some call it niche. I call it your brilliance. Because when you do the thing you were born to do, you listen, you should be on fire. Your light should be on. And dare I say, I'm a woman that likes bling, so I want to be shining everywhere I go. So I think the first piece of strategy you have to get is being clear on the niche your gift serves in.
Mm-hmm.
So if I called myself a business coach, I'm already capping off how much money I can make, because business coach is so vague. So no one can hear the transformation you provide. So, Erica, when my business was failing, the story I just told a few minutes ago,
Mm-hmm.
that was the first thing. I had no strategy around my gift. I didn't understand that my gift is producing people. I did that at my first career was in entertainment. God snatched me out of that and moved me into this arena. And back in 93, I didn't know what to call this thing. So I was
Yeah.
doing this thing the way I saw other people doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was my main first problem, was understanding my own gift. How do I serve from it? How do I speak to the predictable result it brings? Who's it for? All of that is more important than sales, marketing programs. That piece is important, because without you understanding your niche and what it is you do, everything else you build is going to fail.
Mm-hmm. That is so true. And but you correct. So how does one really discover what their niche is? And I
Hmm.
say that because I started doing one thing,
Hmm.
and as I like started growing my brand, I discovered that I was just really better at something else.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
how do you like take all of the things that you invested in
So good.
and kind of pivot over to what you're really good at?
So, the thing that I've learned in my journey is purpose matriculates. So what I mean by that is just like the education system, we matriculate through the education system. So you guys know we started in kindergarten, then we went through elementary, and then we went to some junior high. Some of us went straight from elementary because it had junior high in it to high school. And then some of us going to college and grad school and et cetera, et cetera. But the difference with the education matriculation system is we know the end from the beginning. We know what's next. The way God really takes us on a journey in our lives is he doesn't tell you what's next. So
Yeah.
you get to a place where your gift is no longer big enough for where you are.
Yeah.
So when I use myself for an example, my first career I told you was in the entertainment industry, and I started feeling this feeling like something was missing. But how could I feel that? When I was working on the number one TV show on Fox, and I was working in casting, and I loved it. And then I started working with big production groups. Some of the TV shows are still on repeat. Some movies you guys have seen. Loved every minute of it. But how could I feel like something's missing? I don't understand. Now, on this side of the journey, that started in 93, and that's when I started doing this. I realized what was happening is God was saying, Nicole, I have something bigger for you. Now, on this side, I realized I'm still producing. I'm still casting. So casting is putting the right person in the right role that fits them. That's what I'm doing with my coaching clients. And then producing all the ways you should serve people, still doing it. But I had to learn it in a different way. Now, if God would have said to me in 93, you're still going to produce, I would have been doing the stuff I was doing in TV and film. And I would not have learned how to be a coach, I went back to school, got my master's degree in social work. So technically, I've learned how to be a counselor. I've learned community work. So to answer your question, I believe, what's that Bible verse say? All things work together for the good, not a few. It don't say a couple. It says all. So it's God uses all those things to make you who you need to be. So what you got to do is, if you can't, and this is for the woman, and I get this question all the time, because people
Mhm.
say, "Oh, I'm good at so many things," and God has only called you to be one thing.
One
So
thing,
how
yeah.
do you make that one brand conversation and stop trying to be everything to everyone? Because when you do, that means you're nothing to no one. So to
Mhm.
circle back and answer your question, it's just taking the time to look at how those pieces all come together in the wonderful puzzle that is you. And it,
Mhm.
and and for me, I'm gonna be honest with you, I couldn't figure that out. When I told you I
Mhm.
hired that coach, she was saying stuff to me like, Nicole, you just told me about a program and you just developed a program in a day. Yeah.
Mhm.
She was like, you
Yeah.
realize that that's how you're wired. I mean, she like was going in and I couldn't see it. And so it took me, and I'm making a long story short because she didn't just say that in a day.
Mhm.
It takes a time to get to that. But
Yeah.
what she began to show me is all the things I couldn't see. So one, to answer your question, one, there is a blending of you that makes one brand conversation. But
Mhm.
two, because you are who you be, there are things you're doing you don't realize you do. So you've got to get someone that can help you see what you can't
Yeah.
see about you.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I think too, as you were speaking, um, sometimes what your gift is good at, do you agree that it can be like the time and place where you at in your life? So where you at now in your life, for example, you could just be really great at something. But when you pass that point and you're past that point of where you at in that life, and now you're going to your next level, and that thing that you were good at, it no longer sustain you or hold you for your next level. And
Yes. Yes, I agree. That's why I said the tools you use on this level are not sufficient because I realized that entertainment now, whereas I love it and I still feel like I'm gonna have a full circle moment. I don't know what that's gonna be. I'm like, God did with that, but I'm just saying it so someone of y'all won't call me out because what I'm getting ready to say. That job at that time just no longer was big enough for my gift. I realized God had to bring me out to fully develop me. So let me give you a tangible example. And I'm a God's girl, so I'm always bring some Bible in everywhere I go, right? So there's a story of David in the Bible. We know David and Goliath. We know that story. We've heard it when we were little. All of us heard the David and Goliath story. The thing I think is interesting, Erica, is what we don't realize, and maybe we do, but let me help you put it together because I didn't realize it. So maybe I'm the only one, but let me just share with you this revelation I had when I realized this. So when David was little, Saul, and I'm gonna say, listen, this is the Bible according to Nicole, so I might say wrong people's names, but the story is right. Okay, so I might say the wrong king's name, but the story is right. So I think it was Kings. It might have been Samuel. Anyway, the prophet was assigned to find the next king. I think it was Samuel. Anyway, so God says, go to Jesse's house. That is the right name, which is David's father, and pretty much interview all his sons. So
Mhm.
Jesse, David has seven brothers. Jesse brings out the first one, the second goes all the way to the seventh, and then he acts like that's it. And the prophet's like,
Mhm.
wait a minute, there's one that's missing because the prophet's like, nope, it's not him. Nope, 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 no, not him. Nope. David's out in the field tending to the sheep, right?
Mhm.
So he brings David in. Now, keep in mind, y'all, they didn't have deodorant back then. It was hot. He out there with lamb and sheep and in the mud. So he had to stank and he had to be really dirty. And the prophet says, it's him. So he tells David, you're going to be king. And then they send David back out in the field. So my first question to you is, can you be appointed to be king and take your butt back in the field to be a shepherd?
Mhm.
So what I realize is if David did not go back in that field to be a shepherd, y'all, he would not have had the power to fight Goliath. See, that
Mhm.
happened next. So David had been fighting lions. He had been fighting all these bears, anything that would try to eat a lamb. He was fighting all of that off. I
Mhm.
need y'all to get this. So when Goliath came, he had the power because he probably was thinking to himself, well, I fought a lion. I could definitely fight this giant. And it
Mhm.
was that began to elevate David. So
Mhm.
I'm saying that to say that what I realize now on this side of my own journey, because as you asked me this when I left entertainment, I'm like, girl, I'm never going to use that again because I
Mhm.
didn't see how it connects, but it
Mhm.
does. That's why I said it matriculate. So you may not realize it initially. What I always say is get in a community with a coach that can show you either how the dots connect. Because oftentimes, like I have a client right now, I'm not going to say her name because I don't have permission. She works in corporate. And if she's watching this, she's going to know I'm talking about her, right? And she's been fighting me because she's like, I don't want to work in corporate anymore. I'm like, I get
Mhm.
that. But everything you're saying when we look at what your purpose is for a corporate woman.
Yeah.
So everything you're saying, when I ask you who your ideal client is, you're saying corporate women. I don't want to work in corporate. I said, baby, I'm not telling you have to work in corporate. But guess what? Corporate will hire your company if you let
Yeah.
me help you. And she
Yeah.
laughed and she said, oh my God, you're right. But she has such a
Yeah.
bad taste in her mouth about corporate that she was
Mhm.
fighting every piece of corporate. But at the same time, there are clues that are present that will help you bless corporate in probably all the ways that she hated it. So I think
Mhm.
between those two stories, there's ways that it co-relates, and sometimes
Mhm.
you won't see it immediately, but
Yeah.
you've got to trust that whenever that tool is needed, that's in your tool belt, oh, you're gonna pull it out and you're gonna use it.
Yeah. Now, when I was watching one of your interviews, you were giving 4 points about how to bankroll your brilliance. And one of the things that you said to people, and you kept saying it, don't quit your day job. Don't quit your day job.
Hmm.
Now, I currently still work a day job, and I do other things. I'm always like, I'm hustling. Everybody know me. I'm like all over the place. I'm
Hmm.
hustling. And so there's points in the business where the business is not bringing in any money. But when I get ready to dissolve it, then I get messages like, Erica, your podcast saved my life. Your
Mm,
podcast changed me. I heard your speech. Oh my God, you're doing fantastic. And
right.
so that gives me the energy to keep going, the perseverance to keep going. But at
Hmm.
the same time, I want people to understand some, because Lisa Nichols said it. How much are you willing to give to find your purpose? How much are you willing to
Hmm.
give to keep that business going? So
Right.
if that means working a day job or doing whatever you got to do to finance the business until you're clear of how
Hmm.
to bankroll your brilliance, then you must do so. But can you please touch on that?
Sure. So it's a process, y'all. So it's so funny when you said earlier, re-strategize. What popped in my head is Genesis. Now listen, go read the account of God creating the world. He's strategic. He could have said, listen, I'm gonna create it all, and he could have done it in probably 10 seconds. He probably could have done it in 5 seconds. But instead, what God chose to do was to go through a process or strategy, process, same in and of the same. So I think what's interesting is we think, this was me too, by the way, that I'm gonna start a business and yes, because I know this is what God is calling me to do. Yes, and then it's crickets. It's like, oh, maybe this is not what God's called me to do. No, 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 it is, but it takes time for it to build. It takes time. So if you're looking for a microwave business, you're gonna have a microwave result. Or I like to say to my clients, listen, I don't do one night stands. I'm a marrying kind of girl. I need you to be long term committed relationship. So that's a process, y'all. So I think the misnomer that's out in these entrepreneurial streets, especially in the middle of COVID, is that you're gonna start a business and people tell you 20K in 20 days, and you can make 20K in 20 days, which is great. But I'm not concerned about your first 20. I'm concerned about your 40, your 60, your 80, your 100, and so on and so on. So, to answer your question, it takes time to build. And so, when you're going through what I call see nothing days, see nothing is when you plant a seed in the ground, you see absolutely nothing. You can water it, and you're waiting for it. Look, and you're looking in the ground like, where is it at? Nothing. But if you don't keep watering it, it'll never come up out of the ground. And so what you do in the beginning is you might make some money and then you put it back in the business, but it's not enough for you to generate a paycheck yet. That's your see nothing days. But over time, if you stay with it, you keep watering that seed and you keep doing the things you need to do, you get the right strategy in place. Because I've watered some plants the wrong way and they died. So you can't just water it any old kind of way. It will
Okay.
grow. And so it's really understanding, one, it takes time. It's not overnight. If you want it to be sustainable, not a one hit wonder like Milli Vanilli. Oh, you can get one hit and then it's not sustainable.
Mhm.
It takes time. So I think so many people, and I think I see so many people that quit in the middle of the process because it's taking too long or this is too hard. That's why there's
Mhm.
not everybody's not an Oprah, everybody's not a Tyler Perry, everybody's not a Steve Harvey. You know all these stories, even Tiffany Haddish. And I'm going to use the star stories because we hear them out loud. When Tyler Perry lived in a car, his first play bombed, his second play bombed, his third play bombed. I think it was to his fourth or fifth play that he actually started having people come. But I'm sure he had to recoup the cost from the previous three before he even started making money. Steve Harvey lived in a car. Tiffany Haddish lived in a car. I'm not saying we got to live in a car. If you keep your day job, you won't have to live in a car. And even Oprah got fired from her first TV job.
Mhm.
So you've got to really stay with it and not give up in those see nothing days because it is a process to really create a revenue generating long term sustainable business.
Absolutely. Because I always say I use my job to cover my personal needs, my rent, my car note, those type of
Look,
things.
so you
But
can have Wi-Fi, so you can do your business, so you can do your podcast. If she didn't keep her daytime job, come on, let's keep it real, y'all. First of all, who wants to? First of all, when my business was struggling, let me tell y'all, just reminded me, my business was struggling. Okay, now again, I did still have a daytime job. Now I was a little mad at God because it took me too long to figure it out. And I was literally what I was doing. One of the things I was doing is I knew I was called to go and speak. So when I told you guys I was speaking all over the country, I was paying for myself to go speak, putting myself up. Okay. So I was exhausting all revenue. And so when I finally got that coach and she started showing me the strategy to get paid to do this thing that I do, the very first place that called me was a church, Erica. And I was like, really, Lord? Really? Really? Why? So when the first lady said, how much do you cost? I told her. And she said, okay. Do you want to stay at the Embassy Suites or the Hilton? And do you have an airline that you prefer? What? So here's why I'm telling you the story. I said to God, really, Lord? Really? Why am I just not learning this? Here's what God said back to me. He said, service and struggle should never coexist. Why would I give you a gift and want you to struggle to do it?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, you guys, and I need you to understand this, God still wants you to be strategic with how you start it. So you don't have to struggle to do it, but you need to be strategic. And having a job while you do it is part of a strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
money's not going to look, we don't have manna anymore. Money's not going to just fly out of the sky, no matter how hard you pray. God is going to say, listen, you asking me to do everything. What you doing? What part are you playing in this?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to
Mm-hmm.
have strategic, active faith and watch how God shows up and shows out in the middle of your action. So you working still is you making sure you have your basic needs met so that you can go and do this thing and that money can go back in your business so it can continue to build your business. So that's smart.
Mm-hmm. So now, because we're approaching the end of the second quarter, we got what,
Mhm.
2 more weeks to go, and some people are high, some people are low, some people are really rethinking, like, why am I even doing this whole business thing? Maybe I just need to quit and go get a 9 to 5. And then you have those who are, doing good in their business, but they're not scaling up. And
Mhm.
so that's what we're talking about here, re-strategizing.
Yeah.
So what advice or what would you say to people? How do they even figure out how to re-strategize, such as
Mhm.
what you did? But for them, how do they re-strategize? Like, just put it in layman's terms where they like, okay, yeah, I can use that. Let me figure this out. What am I
Mhm.
doing wrong? Or how do I even know what I'm doing wrong so that I can get it right?
So just like we have to go to a doctor when we don't feel good, and then a doctor gives you a prescription. Some of y'all need a prescription for your business. And you're not going to be able to give yourself the prescription because if you could, you would have already done it. I think my problem for 17 years is I kept saying, I should know how to do this. And I kept living in the shoulds. And the shoulds failed me year after year after year. And care that I had a master's degree, didn't care that I was teaching at a prestigious university or two. I kept saying I should because I'm teaching some of this stuff, but I didn't.
Yeah.
And so I think the number one thing is to go get you a doctor for your business, and that would be called a coach, to write you a prescription, which would be a strategy, and really to see your blind spots. And so for me, and even now, you get to a level in your business where what you're doing either may not work anymore because the strategy worked before, but now you're outgrowing the strategy because, again, your purpose matriculates. So if I use myself for an example, God said to me must have been probably around the last time I talked to you, Erica. Must have been around August. I didn't know that this was really that. I kept thinking God was talking to the wrong person, as if God would talk to the wrong person. He kept saying, "I need you to make your brand inclusive for men." Because everything I had was pink. My last book was called Find Your Fierce. It was all female oriented. I got pink behind me. Pink is still my favorite color, by the way. And so I kept ignoring God and I kept ignoring God. I was on a podcast like this with a man and interviewing me. And I said women again, and I felt like, and I promise you guys, I felt like I was going to throw up, like on camera. And so
Mm-hmm.
what I realized is God was matriculating me again. So I hired a coach right after that because I ain't never talked to no man. All my stuff is female, right? All my branding, there's no more pink on it. So I had to really and I hired a male coach this time. Now I was strategic with that because I needed to get in a female male community. Unfortunately, what we do is female dominated.
Yeah.
If I'm going to make stuff feel inclusive to men, and I didn't want to ask my husband because he loves me and I think he's a little, jaded. So I needed to get in a community that would foster me making sure I speak to men. Now, what I realized on this side in growing that is I don't have to shift what I do. I just need to
Mm-hmm.
be able to speak in a different way so men feel included. So I'm sharing that because it came with new strategy. I shifted a lot of the naming of my programs, and I was a big, heavy lift, y'all. And so
Yeah.
it took me having, thankfully, I have a team and it's not just me, but it also took me having that community and that coach to tease out naming. And because I wanted to make sure that everything felt good to men. I even have a
Mhm.
partner that works with me in my business now that's a man. So I can run stuff past him. And so it's really looking at one, I know now when God is calling me to grow, I have to find someone that's outside of me.
Yeah.
The thing that I've learned in this journey is you cannot see the label from inside the jar. I'm trying to find. So this is my water bottle, right? Don't judge me. This is not Kool-Aid. This is vitamin water, people. Okay. So anyway, so if I'm inside this jar, right, and there's a label outside, that's me, what I do. I'm in here. So I can't see the things that I do. So as I'm trying to shift my programming, I needed someone to be outside of here to be able to say, that sounds too female. That color looks too female. That's still too purple, right? Or whatever that was. And so that I think is one of the biggest misnomers is that you just keep doing the same thing you're doing. When it stops working, it doesn't mean it's time to quit doing your business. It means that you've probably outgrown that strategy and it's time for a new strategy.
Yes, and I totally agree with you. I just need that boost of energy because I've been working on a new program, and then I'm like, I'm not, because you know what it is. I had so many things going on in my life,
Mm-hmm.
not personal, but so many business adventures from speaking to it, and it was all so overwhelming.
Yeah.
So about 2 weeks ago, I decided to eliminate some
Mm-hmm.
things off my plate. So that was part of my re-strategizing. Let me eliminate, what can I eliminate? What can I hand over to my team to do so that
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to do? I told my team, I'll make the money. You guys just do this. So that's one less thing on my plate, right? Sending emails, contacting. That's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of work, right? Making sure my email list gets their
Yep.
regular emails and preparing for the podcast and sending you your email. It's a lot. So I really had to focus on what can I eliminate? And in this season right now, I think what's helping me gain clarity, I am so focused on exercising, right? I am
Mm-hmm.
so focused. I'm committed to working out 5 days a week, eating exactly what's on my template and my meal template, and the results are showing. So, what
Mm-hmm.
that is telling me is if I could be committed to this process and get the results that I am getting, just
Mm-hmm.
imagine what I could do if I'm committed to the things that I'm doing in the business. So
So good.
being committed is something that's very important, and a lot of people lack that commitment because they feel if they try and it doesn't work, they try and it don't work, then they half do it.
Oh, and can I tell you? So let's talk about this diet thing because I'm on the same journey right now. You guys
Okay.
see, she was phenomenal. Listen, so I'm in menopause. I'm outing myself. Okay. So the way I used to eat does not work anymore. However, I like to eat and I like a good glass of wine. So I will out myself on that too. But sugar is no longer my friend. And I'm sharing that with you because if I'm going to be committed to fit all my clothes in my closet, I had to hire a coach that the first one just told me I couldn't drink at all. I was like, okay, you're fired. Because I know I'm gonna have a glass of wine, at least on the weekends. Don't tell me I can't never have none and then you fired, because that's not real for me, right?
Yeah.
Unless I had some medical issue, then I'd fight it. But I'm sharing that with you because it took me to find the coach that said you can eat whatever you want. Let's make a plan so you know when and how you can eat it. And like you just said, this brought it up for me. I follow what she's given me to a T, and I love her because she gets me. And so for me, I've tried so many diets. I've tried keto, the free 99 diets, y'all know when you Google stuff and you find it, and then it'll work. Like keto worked and then didn't work.
Yeah.
Because what happens is your body gets used to that, as my coach, who's actually a doctor, said to me, the reason it's not working anymore is because your body realizes you're doing that and it'll just then curb to that. So I'm sharing that with you because you get to a place in your business that you need an advanced strategy. Because I got to a place in my own diet journey, and it's not diet to be skinny; it's diet to be healthy. So I'm going to eat to be healthy. So I got to my own journey in this whole menopause thing that I had to perimenopause, had to learn how to eat the right way so that I can maintain. And I think that's such a great analogy because so many people think, okay, I'm a diet on Monday and I'm done. No. Or I'm gonna go to the gym and you're gonna work out for me. I wish I could do that, by the way. Ooh, I want to look like JLo girl. Work hard. I need you to run faster. No, it doesn't work like that. But that's what people
Yeah.
do in their businesses, Erica. They think I'm gonna do strategy one time and I'm done.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. And I love that we are in the last 2 weeks of quarter two, which means quarter three, July 1st is around the corner, which also means quarter four. And that means that next year. So you can, if you have plans for 2023, you got to start them now.
Yes.
If we
Say
just
that
said,
again. Say that again, Nicole.
literally, if you have plans for 2023, you have to start them now because you got to create the strategy so that you can do, especially those of you that are doing it alongside your 9 to 5. You've got to start it now because you only have so many hours in a day. So if you can only do a little bit each day, the further out you start, the more it'll be possible for you to hit that goal.
Yes. Yes.
And as we look at, it takes a good 6 months. Let me be honest with you. It takes a good 12 to 18 months to build a business the right way.
Yeah.
12 to 18 months. And I'm saying that from my own journey because I kept starting and stopping and doing something different and then shifting the strategy. No, stay your bus steady, 12 to 18 months. And then when you get to that 18th month, you're going to look at the strategy you have and it may be time to scale it. So, where you are right now, as we look at quarter two, where are you with the goals you set for your business this year? Whether it was to
Yeah.
start it, whether it was to grow it, whether it was to be consistent in it, whatever that is, where are you and where do you feel like you're lacking? Just because you pray about it ain't gonna be enough. And I'm a God's girl. I said faith without works is dead. So what will you do to be about that hole you have so that you won't be there in 2023?
You are absolutely correct. And the reason every month, like I said, I do a theme on the podcast, right? And I bring in different perspectives on that same thing. We always bring a health advisor, we bring a finance advisor. We want to talk about the mental capacity, and then and from you, we're figuring out how to bankroll our brilliance. But all four of those things coincide with one another. You can't have one without the other. So that's
Yes.
why I always start with the mental. We focus on how to re-strategize your mind, how to encourage you, build you up, forgive yourself so that you can move forward. Because if you're lacking mentally, then it's hard to do the other things. It's hard to encourage yourself when nobody else is around encouraging you. It's hard to figure out like what's the right thing to do because you're not mentally there. So when you come to the financial part, you're like, well, let me go buy a couple bottles of wine instead of taking that money and paying maybe your monthly bill to keep the Wi-Fi on.
Right.
But all of it coincides together. And your health, again, I'm gonna keep reiterating that since we're talking about that in the month of June,
Right.
making sure that your health is in good standing so that everything that you do in your business, you can last. Like even though your business will outlive you, you still want to be there fighting a good fight, giving it a good run because you're the face of your business and people want
Right.
to see you. But then if you don't, your health is bad, then they have to see your representatives. And some people don't want to deal with you. Don't want to deal with your representatives. They want to deal directly with you.
Right. And to add to that, TD Jakes said, I'm a mess up what he said, but he just said this on Sunday. I think it was Sunday. It might have been the Sunday before. That the reason why so many people win like Publishers Clearinghouse and all these sweepstakes and they get all this money and then it's all gone is because they win all this money, but they still have hood mentality. They still have hood mindset. So if you don't learn the strategy you need to have millions of dollars and you go spend it like you still live, like I'm from South Central LA, so I'm gonna say South Central. You act like you in South Central and Inglewood. You got an Inglewood mentality with $1 million budget, you're gonna blow it all.
Yes.
And so I love that you do the whole mental piece because here's what I always say to my clients. They call us human beings, but we're really not. We're human doings. Because we focus so much on what do we need to do, what do we need to do, what do we need to do, that we leave out our being. And God only shows up in our being. And so we need equal parts of both because if you don't take the time to really get clear on where you are lagging behind, this your business will never outgrow you.
Yes.
So wherever you go, there you are. So you got
So
to take the time to work on those pieces because it's still showing up with you in your business.
yes. Yes. And so, when I think it's always important to bring a financial expert, right? And I
Mhm.
say that because, and I try to be fully transparent with people because, when they see you're doing a podcast, you're doing a business, sometimes they think you're more successful than you really are. Just like a lot of the entertainers, they traveled all around the world, performed on a whole lot of stages like New Edition, and they was
And
broke,
right.
right? And so when I do full transparency, when I started this, I had just come from doing bankruptcy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you think I'll learn, like, right after doing bankruptcy, because they make you take classes to how not to get in debt again. Well, after filing bankruptcy, then rebuilding my credit process, then I had got like a couple starter credit cards. But then I maxed them out too. So then the strategy for me was that was given to me from someone else. Take the credit cards out of your wallet, out of your purse, put them in the drawer, and then pay them down. Then you can use them again. So I did that. But then I moved and then maxed out the credit cards again and didn't say anything. And I was like stressed out again. So this time the advice was given to me, I'm not going to help you. You're going to do it yourself. And what you're going to do is what they call the I forgot what they call it when you pay one credit card and then pay the minimum on the others and then pay that off and move forward.
Mm-hmm.
So through that process, right, I've learned more actually doing it that way than I did the other way when someone doing it for me, because I had to get out there to work a regular job, Uber on the weekends, take my Uber money to pay down my debt. Now,
Yeah.
because I had to work so hard to do it, I not only did I learn the lesson, but I also learned how to say no from that experience.
Right.
So when you learn the important lessons of going through the process, when you begin to re-strategize, you understand what errors you made in the beginning so that you don't make those same errors and you can make better and wiser decisions going through your re-strategizing process.
Yep. And also I want everyone to pick up on the fact that you said you someone, meaning that she talked to a professional. I need y'all to get this. So me doing all the keto and reading all that stuff online wasn't working. It worked for a hot second and then it didn't work anymore. And I've tried every single diet you could think of. I've done it all. Okay. And none of those are working. I've been doing this thing that I'm doing for almost 2 years and it works. Not because it's another fad thing, but because I got with an expert that tailor made the experience for me. And I think that's what having a coach, a strategist, whether it's financial, whether it's mental, whether it's your business, whatever, you need a coach in every area. Listen, I have a counselor on speed dial. And as Black folks, and it's because I worked with her for years, so now she knows what I'm having a moment, and I can just call her now, right? She's like, you don't need no more sessions, just call me when you have a moment. Because the things that happen to you in your childhood don't go away. You might know what they are. You might know what your triggers are. You might have some tools to work through them, but then sometimes, baby, them tools don't work. It's like, oh Lord Jesus, it's a big one, right? And but you know now, and I only know because I've been through counseling. So I'm only sharing that with you because if you're going to be the best you can be for your children, at your career, in your business, for your mate, for your girlfriends, for whoever you want it to be for, you've got to be 100% you. That means every area of you has to be working out. So Erica's talking about working out in the gym. You need that. You need to work out your mindset. You need
I
that. You
got
need
a
to
coach.
seriously.
Look, I got a coach at the gym. I got a trainer, and look, I post her proudly all over everything that and I do reiterate to my audience. I do have coaches. I have a trainer. The
Me
publicist, she
too. Right.
coached me. I hired a
Mhm.
financial advisor. They coach me.
Yep. Me too.
I mean,
Right.
like, look, I spent so much money in coaches. I was like, wow,
You're
because
investing. You're investing
yes,
in you to grow you. Because again, listen, there's nobody in my family that's doing what I'm doing. Nobody in my family made six figures, let alone multiple six figures, let alone be working on $1 million in their business. I can't point to anybody in my family that's doing that. I'm from the hood. Listen, according to where I came from, I should have been married a baller, whether I was a basketballer or a drug dealer. I'm gonna keep it real. That's what everyone said to me. So this prescription, there was no place for me to find it. So if I'm going to find help, I got to find someone that's in this journey that can show me the light.
yes. That's really good. And so and that's why, like, when I started coaching, I found that I had a knack for it, but it wasn't like something that I searched out to do. Like I sought
Right.
out to be a coach. That wasn't how it started, but I found that people kept coming to me for advice and I was able
Yeah.
to help them through their healing journey.
Hmm.
And there always will be people that need to heal, but I also want to show you what's next
Yeah.
after you go through your
Yeah.
healing journey.
Yeah.
because life doesn't just stop at you through that journey. There's always going to be different levels, different journeys. So if I heal you, then you figure out what's next. Then it's like, okay, now I figured out what's next, but now I got some talent. So then I say, well, okay, you need to go on over to Nicole because she's gonna show you how to take your talents and bankroll them.
Right. And all of that is a strategy. Because what you just said, you help them create a strategy. So when they get to here, you don't want to stay there. You want to go here. So then they need strategy to go there, whether it's mentally, physically, emotionally, whether it's strategy in your business. When you get here, you get this on lock, great. Then you're going to want more. You don't settle. And if you settling, you watching the wrong podcast, I'm just saying, right? So then you get here, you're going to want more. So you need strategy for that. So you've got to continue to grow. And I always say, if God was done with us growing, we would already been to your funeral. Woo!
Mhm.
We would have.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, that's so powerful. Because so many people, I just like to have conversations on my podcast because I like for the audience to really see the realness in me and my guests instead of feeling like maybe it's scripted or we're just like giving them something that they want to hear.
Yeah.
But through authenticity, I find that people can relate better and actually say, "Well, dang, she telling me her truth. Maybe let me listen. Let me figure out. Maybe there's some validity to what she's
Yeah.
saying." And so I appreciate you for being authentic and sharing your stories and the things that has gone on with you in your life. So I
Yeah.
really, really appreciate that.
And look, the reason I do it is because when I started this, Erica, I had no idea. First of all, I didn't know what to call this thing. By the way, someone told me I was their coach, and that's how I started calling myself a coach. I am. What is that? They gave me an article. So I didn't know where to go. And I feel like I spent hundreds of thousands, not feel like I did, because I got a little piece over here, I got a little piece over here, and I got a little piece over here, and I still didn't know how to put it together. And I still didn't feel comfortable being where I'm from. And I grew up in an abusive household. You're not supposed to put your business in the street. That's what, we grow up that.
Yes.
And I realized when I started telling people my story, they were like, girl, me too. Oh, me too. And I wish that someone would have done that for me because it would have helped me give myself permission to be me.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so if I can in any way give anybody else permission because they see themselves in my walk and my transparency, I want you to understand God did not make a mistake. Even the
Mhm.
challenges we go through, all things work together for the good. They don't feel good. They don't say nothing. They don't say the Bible's gonna feel good, but it's for
Mhm.
your good. When you learn
Mhm.
the lesson and you grow from it.
Yes.
And so I want to commend you for holding the platform that people can get insight. They can get strategy. They can see what it looks like to have a living, breathing example of a CEO that's willing to do what it takes to do your podcast and do all the things that you do in your own business. So I appreciate you, girl.
Thank you. Thank you. Because it's not easy. And
Mhm.
again, I've had my moments where I say I don't want to do this anymore. I just want to just go to work and go to the gym and do regular stuff. But
Right.
then when I get those testimony emails or phone calls or instant messages like, "Wow, you've changed my life," then I'm like, "Okay, God, I got to keep going." There was
Yeah.
a point maybe about a year ago or so, I just didn't do the podcast for like 2 months. I didn't
Mm.
have everything right. Everything in my personal life was going wrong. And then Pam was like, "Hey, what's going on with you?" And then
Mm.
there's other people that watch, like, "Hey, where's the podcast?"
Mm.
And then one day, Dr. Portia actually reached out to me and she was like,
Mm.
"Am I supposed to be on your show this week?" I was like, "No, because I don't have the podcast on." And she was like, and in that moment, God said, "It's time for you to release what you're holding." And I began
Mm.
opening up, sharing to her what was really going on in my life. And
Mm.
she prayed for me
You're a perfect person to share with. Yes.
and she gave me a sister gift love offering, which
Mhm.
was what I needed at that time, because like COVID was going on, and so everybody that was in my household couldn't work. So
Yeah.
I was like trying to hold down everything, and I was like, "Oh my God, what am I gonna do?" And when she blessed me like that, not only it wasn't even a financial, it was that somebody believed in you and poured in you to help you get back to where you needed to go. So when
Yeah.
I launched the podcast this year, I started January 1st of 2022. She was my first guest on the podcast.
Mm.
And I just wanted
Mm.
to tell her thank you. I'm always like really, really appreciative of her. And
Yeah.
so then when things started opening, she texted me like, "Hey, there's a speaking engagement, they paying blah, blah, blah. You want to speak?" And I was like, "Wow, okay, great." So that was just really encouragement to keep going
Mhm.
because you don't know what other people see in you. So sometimes it takes somebody else to see something that you don't. And that's what you're saying. You can get a coach, a friend, somebody to help bring out the expertise, the special points, the love, whatever is inside your
Yeah.
brilliance. It's
Yeah.
going to take somebody else to help bring your brilliance out in you.
Mhm. Yep, it does. And you need someone that has that expertise. Because listen, I have tons of great girlfriends. So if I wanted to go to happy hour because I just didn't, y'all know, you can tell I like to drink wine, huh? So if I just needed to get away and release, I can always go have a good glass of wine. That wasn't my
Yes.
problem. I need a strategy. I needed more than a glass of wine. I need a strategy. And so there's a difference, you guys. There are times you need girlfriend time. There's times I need my husband. Lynn, and my husband's so funny. He's like, I can't be your girl. You need to find a girlfriend. Because there's certain female things that he's like, yeah, you need to call your girlfriend for that. I get it. So you got to know what you need the way you need it,
Yeah.
and then be unapologetic to go and get it.
Yes, 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 yes. That's phenomenal because we all do need girlfriends time. That's why I went to Myrtle Beach with my sisters, my daughter, my niece, and we had a blast, right? And
Yes,
I
you need
for
that.
10
Mhm.
days. I just had a great time. Didn't worry about the diet, didn't work because I needed to de-stress. But on the
Yeah.
last day, I said to my sisters, thank you for not judging me. They said, thank you
Mm.
for not judging me. And then we agreed to go and detox. And the next day I got home, I've been on a roll ever since. And I'm like,
Mm.
oh
So
my God,
good.
the result is phenomenal. So yes, you guys, get you some sister time, get you some sister time, get you some sister.
Mhm.
So, Nicole, we're going to wrap things up here, and I've been taking you for the last hour, and I really appreciate you being on the show. But I want you to let everybody know how they can reach you.
Sure. So one of the things I want to gift you all with is here's what I know. When I was at that crossroad in my business, Erica, I didn't know where to go. So it took me really long to figure it out because I didn't know where to go. So for those of you that are trying to figure out what's your next, whether it's what's my purpose, whether it's I'm ready to start my business alongside, or whether you've been in business and you're not making predictable revenue, I have a free quiz you can take. It's the Brilliance Roadmap Quiz. Go to brillianceroadmapquiz.com. There it is on the screen. Take the quiz, it's free. And then it'll give you like a little short webinar that's or mini training that's also free that'll help you move from where you are, wherever the quiz says you are. And then it'll help you give your next steps also for free. And again, I did that because I didn't know, I couldn't even have told you what I needed back then. So wanted to be able to gift that with you, gift that to you to support you in where you are in the second quarter. And again, whatever your dream is, you keep saying I'm gonna start next year. Now is your time. It's never gonna be the right time. You can think of every excuse, and so could I, and so could Erica. But guess what?
Mhm,
We can't give God an excuse. God has invested so much in us. And now it's time for us to give him a return on his investment.
mhm.
So brillianceroadmapquiz.com is where you go if you need that support. And those of you that are going to say, but I need more than that, just reply to the email. My team will see it. And the only reason why I'm going to say my team, because some people want to talk directly to me, and I get that. Because I'm so in fulfillment with my clients, unfortunately, I don't get to talk to you up front. My team does that because I'm focused on coaching and fulfilling from my clients. But you will definitely talk to one of my coaches that will make sure that if first of all, we don't ever sell, we serve. So if there's somewhere we can serve you, we'll tell you, oh, we'll say, God, don't do that. We refer you to somebody else that can. So
Yeah.
that's the best way to start to help you get the strategy you need to start quarter three, knowing what you're going to do next.
That's right. That's right. And so Nicole is on all social media also. You're on I'm just gonna throw her social media up. She's on LinkedIn, Nicole Roberts Jones.
I'm Nicole Roberts Jones everywhere. Although my name is long, so some places like Instagram, I'm in Roberts Jones. So, and then on Facebook, I'm NRJ Enterprises with Nicole Roberts Jones. So, because my team thought I had to put my business name somewhere. So, but if you type in Nicole Roberts Jones on all platforms, this is one of the reasons when I got married, my husband wanted to be me to be Nicole Jones. I was like, baby, if you Google that, there's too many Nicole Jones out there, but there's only one Nicole Roberts Jones. So that's why I kept that name so you can find me.
Yes, yes, yes. And you guys, you can go to her website, NicoleRobertsJones.com. She's available there. And
Yep.
that's funny that you said that because even though my name is distinctive, my government name, people don't know, my name is Erica Gillis. And when
Mhm.
I started out my first year, I was like, Erica Gillis, and it got a great ring to it. But I thought about it like, I do want to get married one day. And the two times that I was married, I've never changed my last name. But this time I actually want to change my last name. So that is how I branded myself as Erica Lynn, because
Mm,
I don't want to have to spend tons of money rebranding myself, because whoever the lucky man will be,
that's right.
I will take on his last name. I will honor him by taking his
Oh,
last name.
wait, can I make you laugh? So when I'm doing something personal, I'm Nicole Jones. Like if we're at a reservation or if I'm at the doctor's office and my husband sometimes will say, "Oh, you Nicole Jones today?" Don't hate. Professionally, Roberts is technically my middle name now, even though it's my maiden name. I made it my legal middle name so
Okay.
that I can put it on everything. So yeah, he teases me. Okay, Nicole Jones today. It's our little joke.
That's wonderful. So, Nicole, before we get out of here, in 2 minutes or less, can you give them a takeaway about re-strategizing in the third quarter, or just something that they can utilize and say, Nicole Roberts Jones gave me this. I'm going to start today implementing or being able to use something that she gave me.
So the biggest thing is going to be the quiz, but here I want to drop some in your spirit. Those of you that are looking for your strategy to be comfortable and easy, listen. Comfort and conviction can never coexist. So if you want something different, you're going to have to do something different, and if you want abundantly above all, it will be uncomfortable. So here's my gift to you. Get comfortable in being uncomfortable. Take the quiz. And then if you're ready to do the work, then follow everything. And yes, at the end, I'll tell you if there's a program that's a good fit for you. I'm not going to lie. But you can not do the program and at least understand where you are. Either way, to give you insight how to move from where you are into whatever that is for you, but it will not be comfortable, whether it's with me, with Erica, with whoever. I need you to understand. Ask Erica and her weight loss journey. It ain't been comfortable. See?
No.
So you see that face? She didn't know I was going to say that. So I need y'all to get growing your business is not going to be comfortable. The number of people that say, "Ooh, well, I got to do all of that." Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Welcome to abundantly above all you can ever wish or think. And it comes with you doing whatever it takes to grow. And that growth comes in uncomfort.
Yes. Now that's phenomenal. Thank you. Because she is right. You have to be uncomfortable to be comfortable. And when I walk by the mirror or walk by like the windows at an office building and I see my silhouette, I be like,
Yes,
dang, girl.
right.
Even when I don't want to go to the gym, I'm like, I'm going to the gym now. So better
Mhm.
time. And my goal is summer of 2023. I'm gonna be out here killing it.
I
So
know, so
right
I put
now I'm
bikini
killing
on.
it. But summer of 2023, because I got another 40 pounds to go. So
I
I'm gonna
love
be
it.
ready, ready out here. And just like
And
you
it's not
guys do.
comfortable, y'all. I want you to get. It's not
Mhm.
comfortable. And dare I say, the holidays that are coming, I'm gonna tell you because I'm gonna be right with you. Because the other day somebody put a piece of cake in front of me, and I was like, "Girl, take that cake away from me.
Yeah.
I can't even bite it."
Yes.
So it's not comfortable. Do I let myself eat cake sometimes? But I knew that wasn't the day.
Yes.
So you got to be willing to do something you've never done if you want something you've never had.
Oh, amen. Amen. In all areas of your life, your business, your personal, your mental, your financial, you got to be willing to do something that you never did in order to get something that you never had.
Yep.
Uh, well, she said it. You got to be uncomfortable to be comfortable. That is pretty powerful. Thank you so much, Nicole,
Thank
for coming on
you.
the podcast. I really, really appreciate it. You really have inspired me. I'm going to go and take the quiz as well.
Well,
I
thank
am.
you for having me, girl. I always enjoy our time together. I forget that, we actually are recording and then I forget, oh, it's been an hour. That went by fast. So thank you for having me
Yeah.
on.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And then you'll get a copy of this podcast if you want to use it for someone else. But my team, Sonya, she'll get you together. Well,
Yes,
look,
they
my
really
team and
do.
your team, they know each other.
Right, right. Y'all need to get you a team. Right. And let me just say this last thing. You said something earlier, and I'm going to say this and I'm going to say it quickly. You got
Mhm.
to understand what's the highest revenue generating activity only you can do. You learn
Mhm.
that as you do your business, and then you hire for everything else because then that frees you up to do the highest revenue generating activity only you can do, which is why people are hiring you in the first place, which is why I said a few minutes ago, I focus on my speaking and coaching. That's what only I can do. People talking to you about assessing where you are, I can train people for that and make sure they have servant's heart. My assistant can figure out my schedule. Right? I can go on and on about all the people I have on my team, and the same with Erica. She can say the same thing. So, but you got to start to get that clarity. So, and then you got to start to generate revenue, so you can hire some people to help you.
Right. That's right. Or you're gonna be stuck doing the same thing, getting the same results, being in the same place that you always been, and then you're gonna be older one day and saying, dang, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. I wish I did, but I didn't. And we don't
Right.
want that for you.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Well, it was fantastic. I hope that you come back on the show again. I know you
Always,
got
always.
something new coming out. Whenever you got like a new program or something coming out, just hey, give me a holler, and we'll love to have you come back on the
Okay,
podcast.
I definitely will. Thank
God
you.
bless you. You're welcome. We'll talk to you soon. Well, you guys, I hope you really got an opportunity to hear what you need to do to re-strategize for your third quarter. It's not going to be easy. Like she said, you have to be uncomfortable to get comfortable. So, what are you willing to do to gain comfort, to gain clarity, to gain leverage, to strategize to your next level in your business? Again, when we talk about re-strategizing, we don't just talk about re-strategizing in your business. We talk about re-strategizing mentally, physically, financially, forgiving yourself, just all areas that you need in your life. Whatever it is, it's time for you to re-strategize, because we're going to go up in the third quarter. And that means that half of the year is already over. You don't want to get to December and saying, dang, the year is over. We're going into 2023 and I did nothing in 2022. So what are you willing to do to be uncomfortable to help take you to your next level? So it's time for you to re-strategize. I am Erica Lynn. I re-strategize all the time. I told you, like I said, I re-strategize with my exercising and losing weight, and you guys can clearly see all the weight that I've lost in my face, all the pictures that I've posted, the videos that I've posted, because I'm working hard. But also, that is something that I need to do in my journey in order to take my business to my next level. Because being on stage and your feet is hurting and you're tired, it's hard to speak on stage if I'm not in good physical health. So that was part of my re-strategizing. What is it that you need to do to re-strategize? Just like Nicole says, you can go to her website and take the roadmap quiz. Let me pop it up here one more time. brillianceroadmapquiz.com, so that you can figure out where you are at in your life, so that you can re-strategize in your business, your personal, otherwise. Well, anyway, it's time to go. I need to go make me a protein shake because, hey, that's just what I eat these days. So I love you guys. Always remember to take one step beyond you. Make sure you join us next week. I forgot that part. My team will kill me. Make sure you join us next week, every Wednesday at 7 p.m. We're going to have we're going to have a podcast. We're going to have Diane Antley, and we're going to talk about re-strategizing through forgiveness and releasing. So let's get clear on your purpose. Let's get clear on why you were put here on earth. So it's time for you to re-strategize. I'm always like to provide great content for you guys so that it touches somebody somewhere in some place. So anyway, now it's time for me to go. Make sure you don't forget, continue the Move More challenge. Post more of you walking, exercising, hashtag move more, hashtag Erica Lynn fam, so that we know that you guys are getting the exercise and getting healthy, moving more, doing things like that. And if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe to Erica Lynn Speaks on YouTube. And you can find me at Erica Lynn Speaks on Facebook. So now it's time for me to go. God bless you guys. I love you. And always remember to take one step beyond you. God bless you. I'll see you guys next week. This podcast was brought to you by ericalynnspeaks.com. Sign up for your free consultation today at ericalynnspeaks.com/work with me. And just remember, it only takes just one step beyond
beyond you. I say Erica Lynn Speaks.